Hey there, sports bettors. The PGA season's officially back for the fall swing. And with that, so are my weekly golf videos. So let's get right into it. 2 weeks ago, we wrapped up the Fortinet Championship to start the new PGA season. And Sahith Theegala finally got his long-awaited first PGA Tour win. My clients and I had him cashed out a 18-1 ticket while profiting 9 units in the process. And, it was truly a special tournament because I only had 3 outrights. And coming into Sunday, I had Eric Cole and Sahith Theegala. Theegala was the prohibitive favorite, and Eric Cole was the only guy that really had a chance to catch him. So it was about as rocking chair as you could get on Sunday. It's going to be hard to replicate that again. Probably in my lifetime, let alone this season. But the model has been very hot. It's dialed out of the gate. Really looking forward to another very profitable PGA season. So with that win, with Theegala, that was my 15th outright winner since February of 2022, which puts us up over $150,000 in PGA Tour winnings with our bets since I started this YouTube channel. So a lot of people ask me, how do you do it? What's your system? How do you achieve all the success? And what I've done is I put together a video that breaks down my journey, my strategies, and my insights into how I did it. And it's currently in the editing room, and it's dropping next week. So definitely keep an eye out for that video. Really excited to share that. But let's get into what everyone's here for in this video, the Ryder Cup. Now, the Ryder Cup is an awesome event. A lot of these players will tell you it's the most meaningful event they play. It's a great viewing event. For betting, a little bit tricky. Europe was great value at plus 185, but this was months ago, like around 2 months ago. I like Europe there, and I took them there, and, nothing's changed for me. It's still Europe, but obviously now, the line has now flipped to where it's either a pick'em or Europe's even a small favorite in some books. So at that price, even though I do think that Europe does win at home, I think that there's value in the live market now. Now, I do think Europe comes out strong tomorrow and takes a lead because they've been absolutely dominant in the foursome format, and that's how they're coming out tomorrow. So if they come out and take the lead, I think there actually may be some value buying back on the U.S., especially if you locked in that Europe ticket, plus 185 that I gave out a few months ago. But ultimately, I do think that Europe wins. They're the stronger team. They have the better big three. They have fewer question marks. And the bottom line is they don't lose on their home turf. They certainly don't lose in foursomes on their home turf. The last time that the U.S. won on foreign soil was back in 1993. So do think the value is on Europe. But that being said, I don't love the number, especially having delayed juice. I think this is going to be a back and forth type of a tournament, so I think there's going to be value live betting. At least I hope there is. Now, everyone likes to bet the Ryder Cup. There's a huge menu, myself included. Now, does that mean that I'm betting a ton of money on these props? No. But I know people are going to want to dabble. I do as well. So I do have some pizza money bets, on some of the fun props, top point scorers, things of that nature. Looking at the teams, the one guy who I think is being very undervalued is Brian Harman. He's dead last in the market to be the top U.S. point scorer, which for the life of me, I really can't understand. He's playing tomorrow with Max Homa, which, by the way, I think he's a great chance to win that matchup, even though it is against Hovland and Aberg, who obviously I'm very high on both. People forget somehow that only a few months ago, it was no one other than Brian Harman who ran away with the British Open. His game really fits this course. It fits the link style course. Let's remember what he did at the British Open. He kept it on the fairway the entire weekend. He was deadly with the wedge, and he putted lights out. If he can do that again, I truly think, especially if he's matched with Homa or in alternate shot with Scotty, that he can go 3-0 in team play. And then if he does, and he's playing as well as anyone on the American team, Zach Johnson's going to have to put him out there in singles. And, he held off the best of the best at the British Open. So why can't he, do the same and get, 1 or 2 more wins in singles? And if he does that, 4 or 5 wins, I think that's going to be enough at worst to get a split, of that pot, in that market for top U.S. point scorer. And honestly, I think there's value in Harman at the top point scorer of the entire tournament. That's 65-1. So, those weren't big bets for me. Brian Harman, top U.S. point scorer, was a little bit of a bigger bet. That was like a 0.2 unit bet. I just sprinkled a little bit on Harman top point scorer. As far as the European point scorers, that's a market that I don't have much of an opinion on. I would think Rory is the rightful favorite. He's the chalk, and I do agree with that. Rory, everyone knows that he didn't have a season to write home about this past year, right? Didn't win a major. Really didn't play well in any of the majors even. But that being said, we know how much the Ryder Cup means to him. When he lost at Whistling Straits back in 2019, he was visibly emotional. He was crying, and saying that, nothing, no tournament matters more than the Ryder Cup. So, I do think that Rory, not that it's going to make this season, any less, painful that he didn't really play well, and his major drought continues to get extended. But I think he could have some vindication here, and a 5-0, 4-1, in Ryder Cup match play where he leads the European team to a victory would at least somewhat make up for the disappointing season overall that he had. So Rory at plus 450 to be the top European, that would be my pick. But I just do worry, about Rory's. Not that his form is bad. His form is pretty solid coming in, but is he going to put too much pressure on himself? It seems like when he does that is sort of when he doesn't play at his best. So I know he's going to have a lot of pressure on his shoulders here. So that's the only thing that's keeping me away. But I do think another bet that's pretty decent for Rory's over 2.5 wins. If I think he can be the top European point scorer, he's going to have to probably get at least 3 or 4 points to do that. So to get 2.5, a push and 2 wins. I think at worst that pushes, and that's actually an even money. So I think that's a pretty decent bet. And then I do have a favorite bet, and it's going back to Brian Harman. If I like Brian Harman to potentially be the top U.S. point scorer, the top overall point scorer, how can I not like him at over 1.5 wins at plus 150? I really do have a feeling that he's going to be an integral part of Team USA's success. And like I said, everything about his game points to his ability to really perform well here. And he's a guy that let's not forget, at the British Open, he was harassed the entire tournament. The European fans were saying unimaginable things to him, and he just kept focused. And he said he let that insults and sort of negativity motivate him, And Harman's a dog, man. I mean, I like Harman a lot, so that is my best bet. Harman over 1.5 wins. I really do think that he and Homa can get the upset win opening round. Beat Hovland and Aberg, and if he does that, then he'll only need one more win to cash this bet, or even a push, to push it. So I don't think it's priced properly. I think that should be closer to even money. So at plus 150, that's the clear value bet for me. As always, I will be sharing some matchups as the tournament goes on in my Telegram group. So if that's something that interests you, the link to join is below. You can join, and it's $99 for the month. So that'll get you the Ryder Cup, obviously, and it'll get you 3 more tournaments. As we're in the thick of the things in the full swing. If not, if that's not for you, no worries. I'm going to be back to making my weekly video for every tournament. So if you just want to watch, I typically do post these a little bit late. So if you want to get the bets that I place in real time, the Telegram group is great for that. But those are my thoughts on the Ryder Cup. I do think that Europe wins a close one. History wouldn't agree with that. Every time that Europe has won, even over the past 3 or 4 decades, it's been a runaway. It hasn't been close, but I do worry a little bit about their depth. Outside of Aberg, I'm really not a fan of many of the rookies. I do like Sepp Straka quite a bit, but I'm not sure that I love him here in this format. So I don't think it'll be a Europe runaway, but I do think Europe wins. So enjoy the Ryder Cup. I know for us Americans, you're going to have to get up a little bit early to watch it or stay up late, which I'm very excited to do. I'll be tuning in to every swing. Super excited for it. But yeah, I'm happy for the full swing to be back. Happy to be back on YouTube. Enjoy the Ryder Cup, guys. Any comments or questions, leave them down below. I love the interaction, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to putting out the video next week. Sort of explaining my process and everything that I do that has resulted in these excellent PGA results to date. So good luck, guys. Enjoy the Ryder Cup. Talk to you next week.